Hello, my name is Breck Elder. I'm the manager of manufacturing operations at Mill Ridge Road here with Arriva. I've been with the company for over 30 years, and I want to tell a personal experience that kind of relates to the differences in the safety culture that the company had when I joined and the safety culture that the company has today. I want to tell you about a personal experience, okay? I built this bus. It's near and dear to my heart. It's kind of been a hobby for me for 7 years or so. I've modified it, done everything from cutting, grinding, welding, building cabinets. I love to take my family on trips with this bus. It's near and dear to me. It's been my hobby. I come home in the evening time, I can find something to do with it, okay? But I want to tell you about a personal experience where, again, I didn't think a whole lot about safety. Where this bus is sitting here today, okay, this building did not exist. This was a gravel lot. And I was in the process at the time. The bus was pretty much a skeleton at the time. I was doing grinding on this bus in preparation for doing some welding. I raised the roof on it about 8 inches and wanted to do this welding. And I was using a 6-inch angle grinder at the time. And if you've ever seen one, a whole lot of dust, a whole lot of dirt, a whole lot of sparks, if you will, fly off of this grinder. And I had never thought about, the gravel is 20 feet away, but I live in the woods. It's all dry leaves. I'm in the woods. It's a flammable environment. But that never dawned on me. I mean, I had my safety glasses. I had a face shield. I had gloves. I was ready to go. And I'm on this thing grinding away. It never dawned on me that one of those sparks would fly 20 feet over into the edge of the woods and start a fire. But I'm up there grinding. All of a sudden, I hear this popping, this crackling sound, and I look over, and sure enough, there's an area about this big around with a fire about this tall burning over in the edge of the leaves, okay? Well, my first reaction is, well, I'm going to run over here and put this thing out, okay? Off comes the face shield, the gloves. I run over to the fire, and I'm trying to stomp this thing out with my feet. Well, it's all dry leaves, right? I realized real quick, the more I stomped, the more the leaves scattered. You just couldn't believe how fast this thing was spreading, this little circle just getting bigger and bigger, okay? So then my next thought is, well, what can I do? I got to put this thing out somehow. I had some sheet metal laying on the back of the garage that came out of the headliner in the bus originally, and these things are about 4 by 6 foot sheets. So I thought real quick, I'm going to put it out with this. I grabbed one of these pieces of sheet metal, threw it down on top of it, and I'm walking around stomping on this thing and thinking I've got it smothered. The fire's out now. I've made it here. I'm successful. I didn't realize that this piece of metal had a plasticized coating on the backside of it that was semi-flammable. So within about 5 seconds, whoof, I got this ring of fire completely around this piece of sheet metal now. So there's nothing I can do at that point. So then I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Can I get the garden hose? Well, the garden hose is not long enough to reach behind my workshop at the time. So then I'm to the point, what am I going to do? So I'm picking up this piece of sheet metal now. It has quit burning. So I'm throwing it into different places and trying to stomp on top of this, trying to put this fire out. And I'm making a little bit of progress, but it's continuing to grow. And as time's going by, it's only a matter of moments. But in my mind, I'm thinking, this thing's getting out of control. I'm realizing I'm not going to be able to stop it. Okay, it's getting bigger and bigger. Then I'm thinking, well, I need to go call the fire department. Well, I'm realizing, I'm in rural Appomattox. It takes 20 minutes probably, or 25 minutes before the fire department would get here, okay? It's a volunteer fire department. Those guys do a great job. But I'm looking at, if I leave this thing alone for 25 minutes, the backside of my garage, probably the bus, everything's going to be on fire here in a couple of minutes, okay? And at the last minute, I'm panicking. I'm thinking, what in the world am I going to do, okay? It dawns on me, I've got a fire extinguisher in the shop. Ran around the shop real quick, went and got the fire extinguisher, came back, and I put the fire out probably in, 5 seconds, okay? Fire extinguisher did a great job, okay? But after that experience, okay, I got to thinking about it, and I begun to realize, this could have been something really traumatic here, okay? I'm living in the woods, leaves everywhere, the shop's in the woods, the house is in the woods, the bus is in the woods. I mean, everything could have gone up in a matter of moments, okay? And, I didn't take the time prior to starting into the job. Yeah, I thought about, safety glasses, a face shield, gloves, but I didn't take the time to think about what else could happen. I'm doing something flammable, okay? And, I'm kind of aware of that, but it never dawned on me. And I had made no provision for what if one of these sparks flies over here in the woods and starts a fire, okay? So that's where I'm going with this, okay? That's my personal experience to talk about, not thinking about all these different things that could possibly happen and not making any provisions in the event that something happened, okay? I've begun to realize that, I almost lost a lot here, okay? It was a very personal experience for me. In the future, well, I had to continue to do the grinding and the welding on the bus. Well, yeah, I bought a longer bought a longer garden hose, okay, that would reach the bus. I could put the fire out if I had to, but I started wetting down the area around the bus, wetting down the leaves such that, that wouldn't continue to it would cut down on the possibility for fire, I guess. I staged my fire extinguisher close by, I thought about things that could possibly happen, okay? So that's basically where I'm going with this, okay? The time to think about what could have happened, what happened, those thoughts should take place before you start into that activity. You should be thinking about what's happening there, okay? And safety culture in the company today, if we'd have had that same culture today, back then that we have today, maybe I'd have been more conscious of that stuff then, okay? But today, what I'm trying to say is, some people think that the safety is all about numbers, okay? In our industry, it has to be about numbers. But what's more important is that we care about one another. And my purpose for making this video today is so that you won't be involved in a personal experience that's going to teach you about safety. Several weeks ago, I was at a friend's house, okay, and he was working on a truck. He's into, big trucks and that sort of thing, and he's got a cutting torch, and he's getting ready to cut some bolts off of this truck, and it's out there in the yard beside his shop. And I got to thinking about that, and I got up and went in, and I was just there watching. I wasn't helping him, but I thought about it. I went into the shop, okay, and I looked around, and I found this old fire extinguisher that he had. I carried that over there, and I set it by the door, and then I went back to where I was watching what he was doing. And, I kind of took what I had learned through the safety culture, and I took time to think about what he's getting ready to do, He's outside, but he's got this torch. And I'm thinking back to my bus situation, and I'm thinking, what if this thing catches on fire? What if something happens? Does he have a fire extinguisher? Where is it located? Well, fortunately, I had staged this fire extinguisher close to the door, okay? And unbeknownst to me, and he may have known, but under the front of this truck where he's cutting these bolts off, apparently it has dripped a puddle of oil or grease or something. And as he starts cutting and the slag's hitting the ground there, the grass under the front of this truck just bursts into this little flame. And it's burning real good, okay? And in, a matter of seconds, he's hollering, "Get a fire extinguisher, get a fire extinguisher." I walked right straight over to the door and I put that fire out. It probably didn't burn 5 seconds. But that just goes to show, because I thought ahead, I learned from that experience, and I'm thinking about what could go wrong, what could happen, what are the things we need to plan and allow for. And fortunately, like I said, the safety culture brought it to my mind. I was able to go get that fire extinguisher, and I had it standing there ready to go. And I averted a catastrophe in his case. If I hadn't found that fire extinguisher, the whole truck could have burned for all we know.